when dry eye symptoms keep coming back. Inflammation might be to blame. Over-the-counter eye drops can provide temporary relief. Xiidra can provide lasting relief. It targets inflammation that can cause dry eye disease. Xiidra treats the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease. Don't use if you're allergic to Xiidra. Common side effects include eye irritation, discomfort or blurred vision when applied, and unusual taste sensation. Why wait? Ask your doctor about a 90-day prescription and pay as little as $0. Xiidra.
I'm gonna unpack Glenn's bag, and Glenn's gonna unpack my bag. Why is everything?
Because the way you said it.
Tomorrow on ET, we're unpacking our exclusive with Hitman stars Glenn Powell and Adria Arjona. Does anybody wonder why Glenn has a capybara in his bag? By the way, Adria, is with Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa used to be married to Lisa Bonet, and Lisa Bonet used to be married to Lenny Kravitz.
How would you describe this next era of Lenny Kravitz?
Vibrant, man. I've never been this young.
Lenny Kravitz turned 60 with an epic bash in Paris. Lisa Bonet was there. Daughter Zoe was also there. Birthday to you. Salma Hayek enjoyed some cake as Lenny thanked the star-studded crowd, including Naomi Campbell and Chris Rock. Now, Gayle King wasn't there, but she's made her feelings known.
Do you have a significant other in your life? And can I beat her if she is? Oops, did I say that out loud? No. Do you
Wow.
Oh, Gayle, them's fighting words. We can square up, because it's me. No. Good night, everybody. Happy birthday, Lenny.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, an indictment handed down today for a dangerous dog mauling during an argument last year.
This is 40-year-old Marcus Davila. We first reported on him back in September. At the time, San Antonio police said 53-year-old Raymond Zamora was out walking to go cut lawns when he and Davila got into an argument at North Colorado and West Martin Streets.
SAPD told KSAT Davila intentionally allowed his dog to attack Zamora, causing Zamora to need surgery for the lacerations on his neck. Davila now indicted on several charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and attack by a dog with serious bodily injury. If he is found guilty, he could face up to 20 years in prison.
New at 5, a car owner back behind the wheel after being forced to give up her SUV to a man with a gun. San Antonio police quickly tracked down that stolen car and a suspect in the carjacking.
As Katrina Weber shows us, the car owner a bit banged up after all this.
A man is on his way to jail with his hands under lock and key after San Antonio police say he held a gun in those same hands and stole a car from a woman.
I told her to get out. Somehow, someway he gets in the vehicle on the driver's side door, and as the vehicle moving, he pushed her out of the moving vehicle.
The woman who had been in the driver's seat ended up on the ground near Compton and Curtis Streets. Police say she suffered some minor cuts to her leg. Within minutes of her call around 7:30 this morning, officers not only were able to comfort her, but offer a bit of good news. They found her stolen SUV on a piece of private property about 6 miles away. Police believe the suspect randomly chose that spot on Lynn Road to bail out, then run. But they quickly caught him and a woman passenger nearby. They also found a gun in the trunk. From what police tell us, it seems the car came through this a bit better than the owner. While she was left with minor injuries, they say the car really doesn't have any damage at all.
Any day, it's a very, very traumatizing, especially early in the morning.
The woman was understandably shaken. Police say with car thieves especially active now, it's best for everyone to be on alert.
Lock your doors, and look around to your surroundings when you get out the vehicle.
The car owner in this case is back in her vehicle, thanks to quick work by police. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
8 families getting used to new surroundings after a fire damages and destroys their home. Firefighters believe a strand of lights on a balcony may be what caused one section of an apartment building to go up in flames. That fire, which started around 9:30 this morning, spread to the roof of the building at the Abbey at Medical Center Apartments. All of the people made it out of that building. It's not too far from Wurzbach and Babcock Roads. Some may have lost their pets, though.
We did have reports of animals that were missing. So currently we have 2 cats that were unaccounted for, and we believe they may not have made it out.
Firefighters say all of the families who lost their homes will be moved to other apartments in this same complex. Another election Tuesday, this time around the primary runoffs.
When the polls close tonight, voters will have made their final choices in key races for the ballot in November. Among those, the race for U.S. Representative for District 23. Tony Gonzalez is hoping to keep his seat in Washington, but must ward off his challenger, Brandon Herrera.
To another race now. The political jabs exchanged in the race for a seat in the Capitol in Austin have been nonstop between John Kemple and his challenger, Alan Schoolcraft. The Republican candidates not mincing words about each other or where they stand on issues like school vouchers. But now the decision in the hands of voters.
And on the local stage, one of the highly contested and heated races for the Bexar County Commissioner Precinct 1. The current commissioner for that precinct, Rebecca Clay Flores, unable to get the 50% plus vote she needed back in March during the primary. So she's been campaigning to prevent Amanda Gonzalez from taking that office.
But questions surrounding both women have been the subject of concern for some voters. Our Dylan Collier live with how the candidates have responded to that criticism that has the potential to influence how this election results pan out tonight. Dylan.
And Stephen, Ursula, this race generated a lot of buzz over the last couple of weeks after pretty much being off the radar until that time. Clay Flores is finishing the last year of her first term in office, but as you mentioned, was only able to get 46% of the vote in the 6-person Democratic primary in March. So that was not enough to win this race outright. Amanda Gonzalez captured 20% of that vote, which gave her second place and allowed her to advance to tonight's runoff. And that's when things got interesting. Gonzalez is the former executive director of Blue Cares, the nonprofit arm of the San Antonio Police Officers Association. But SAPOA did not endorse their former employee. They stayed out of the race altogether. The two sides this month then accused each other of not handling meeting records properly. And then came the revelation that Clay Flores this year gave Blue Cares $30,000 in discretionary funding for a number of programs that Blue Cares supports. And then 10 days ago, Gonzalez filed an ethics complaint against Clay Flores, accusing her of putting inaccurate information in some of her campaign literature that went out in recent weeks. So no shortage of storylines as we enter election night. The winner of the race tonight gets Republican Lena Prado in the November election. Reporting live on the South Side, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
A lot of back and forth in that race. Thank you, Dylan. Well, the polls close tonight at 7 o'clock. Immediately after, we're going to start our election night live stream. Myself, along with Myra Arthur and the Power Panel, will bring you the latest information on all of the big runoff races in Bexar County and statewide. Again, our coverage begins at 7. You can watch it on our website, KSAT Plus, and on our KSAT YouTube channel.
A man finding the wrong spot to lie down overnight, and he lost his leg as a result. It was severed by a train that rolled on the tracks he was lying on. It happened on Lark Meadow Drive on the northeast side, not too far from Lookout Road. Police at the scene tell us they believe the man may have been sleeping on the tracks just as that train was passing. It was unable to stop in time. The man taken to the hospital and at last check was in critical condition.
Back in the winter, it was the lack of heat. Today, it was the lack of AC that forced SAISD to shut down a few of its campuses. The district canceling classes at Mark Twain Dual Language Academy and Bonham Academy due to an air conditioning issue. Parents were notified to pick up their children and school buses called in for the students that use them. The principals at both campuses informed parents through a letter on that issue and how the problem was being fixed so students can apparently return to class tomorrow. That's what that letter says. It comes about a week after SAISD Superintendent Jaime Aquino issued a letter to parents detailing the problems of the HVAC issues and that he promised to be proactive about those issues moving forward. Back in January, the district had to close all campuses after the heating components of that HVAC failed to heat up some of those schools during the cold winter temps. The district says classes at Mark Twain and Bonham Academies again will resume tomorrow.
The heat is one thing, but the heat combined with the humidity, it's a beast all of its own. And today, a little bit of breeze offering a bit of relief.
Yeah, but if you've been outside at all, it definitely helps. But what is needed most? rain. Adam Caskey here. And Adam, we're just in a hot holding pattern, it seems like right now.
Yeah, a hot holding pattern. We had our first 100-degree day over the weekend on Saturday, making it 102. But when you factored in the humidity, it felt like it was 115 briefly in the afternoon on Saturday. 98 was our high temperature today. That an outflow boundary from storms off to the north of us moved through, dropped our temperatures a bit. Frank's Backyard and Shirts, 94, 91 in Leon Springs, Floresville, 95, 87 Brian's Backyard in Bulverde. In Jim's Backyard and Shirts at 91, you see the variability in the temperatures, even just down to the neighborhood. Now, the storm activity is off to our west right now, west of Ozona along I-10 and just west of Valverde County in parts of Mexico here. This is having a hard time really sustaining itself, but there is going to be some progress eastward with this activity as we go through the evening. And I do think we've got the potential for some leftover shower activity. 40% chance later on tonight for some of the leftover showers. We'll talk about the severe potential along with the future cast in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. Is the milk we drink safe? Last month, the EPA put limits on so-called forever chemicals in drinking water, but there are no federal guidelines for those same chemicals in food or milk.
So 12 on your slides, Meryl Morris shows us what Consumer Reports scientists found when they headed to the lab.
You pour it in your coffee, over your cereal, or just drink it by the glass. But milk may have more than vitamins and minerals.
A bunch of dairy farms over the years have reported PFAS contamination in their water or their soil, and then subsequently in their cows and then the milk that the cows produce.
PFAS. They're known as forever chemicals because essentially they never break down naturally. They've been linked to cancer, immunity and endocrine problems, and infertility.
PFAS have historically been added to consumer products to make them nonstick, waterproof, stain resistant. And then once PFAS are out in the world, they end up in our water supply, in the fertilizer that farms use, and they end up in our food, and they end up in us.
So what about milk? Consumer Reports did a limited test of 50 samples of whole milk bought from grocers in 5 states, including Texas. The results? They did find PFOS or PFOA, 2 PFAS most often linked to harmful health effects, but in just 6 of the 50 samples.
So what do you do? Consumer Reports says nobody needs to stop drinking milk, but there is another takeaway.
It does show how our federal food safety agencies and manufacturers are not monitoring for PFAS in milk and other foods, and the needs for health protective limits for these harmful chemicals.
In response, the International Dairy Foods Association said, quote, dairy foods and beverages are highly regulated and rely on a verified system to ensure their safety and integrity. If you're concerned about PFAS, you can limit exposure by avoiding stain and water-resistant clothing and use PTFE-free pots and pans. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Check out traffic on this election day, and this is I-35 at Loop 410. You see right there at that exit, that car that's kind of stalled. Things are slowing down there. I'm not sure if it's because of that car. It looks like that car is just having some sort of mechanical problem there, but you can see traffic very slow going. This is I-35 north at Loop 410.
Still ahead on KSAT 12 News at 5. Picking up the pieces, the task of millions impacted by severe storms that ripped across Texas and several other states. An announcement by Governor Abbott that could help affected Texans begin their recovery process.
I'm Myra Arthur with a look at what we're working on for the news at 6 o'clock today. Both sides have now rested in the trial of a man accused of causing the death of a 5-year-old boy. The defense only called one witness who weighed in on the testimony of a child in this case, the defendant's daughter. What that witness had to say. That and more today on the news at 6.
Thank you, Myra. In today's other headlines, more than 20 people dead from a storm system that's been pounding the U.S. since this weekend. This as new storms hit the states of Texas and surrounding. In addition to lives lost, the storms have left behind involve livelihoods, homes, and both. On top of that, millions of Texans under heat advisories today, along with Louisiana and Mississippi. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announcing that FEMA has approved the state's request for assistance for Collin, Cook, Denton, and Montague counties in North Texas.
Closing arguments underway in the trial of former President Donald Trump. When they wrap up, deliberations could immediately begin. Trump pleading not guilty to bookkeeping errors that New York prosecutors claim affected the integrity of the 2016 election. The defense is arguing that Trump had no part in the hush money scheme at the center of the accusations, and that testimony given by Trump's ex-attorney Michael Cohen is false. Prosecutors, though, stood by Cohen's claims that Trump was aware and thought the hush money payments would affect his election chances.
Ultimately, a trial is all about storytelling for the jury. There are only 12 opinions that matter.
Jury deliberations, again, could happen at any moment, and it could take days or weeks to get a verdict. If convicted, the judge could sentence Trump to probation or a sentence of up to 4 years for each count in state prison with a maximum of 20 years.
Take a live look outside right now. 91 degrees out there, and storms are the talk, at least. Like for some rain to be a reality.
Well, and that's been our issue this spring for quite some time, and especially the past month or so, is, we have the potential out there. It's just not a significant potential, whereas other parts of the state are getting slammed by good rain. And of course, it comes at the cost of some severe storms. Today it was Dallas, Fort Worth, southward all the way through Houston. More power outages for those communities. We'll look at that in a moment. But now I want to point out, just off to the west of us, that's where we have thunderstorms that have just popped up here over the past couple of hours, west of Ozona and west of Del Rio. And this activity has the likelihood of, we're going to have to go backwards really quickly here. We have a new computer system, if you haven't noticed, and sometimes it can be a little finicky. So anyway, we have the activity
in reverse.
Weather in reverse. Okay. Backwards slowly. There's a severe risk. Let's just get right to the future.
There we go.
Nailed it. And back to you. Okay. So here's our future cast. And notice how it's picking up on these storms pretty good. I think it's initializing nicely. This is one reason I have confidence in it. And we had the outflow boundary push through a brief, relatively cool breeze earlier today, close to 1 p.m., and that stabilized our atmosphere here. So these storms, as they trek eastward, I think it's unlikely that they're really going to be able to sustain themselves. In turn, I'm calling it leftovers that we'll get around here. Leftovers of those West Texas and Mexico storms later on tonight and into the very early morning hours tomorrow, even shortly after midnight. Now, take a look at this. This computer model is hinting at, one storm could pop up right over San Antonio later on tonight. This really could happen anywhere within the map that you see here. It's not a guarantee. Don't get your hopes too high. And there is the chance of a few severe storms, but that's generally west of us, especially from Midland to San Angelo, Ozona, and Del Rio. Yes, we can't rule out a severe storm in and around San Antonio and surrounding areas. However, with that outflow boundary that moved through and stabilized us, I think our odds are dropping for severe storms as the hours go by. All right, let's talk about the power outages. Dallas, Fort Worth getting hit past couple of days. And check this out. Look at these outages here. Now, this is the latest count in and around Dallas. 310,000 customers without power. And then, of course, Houston just getting their power back, right, in Harris County, and even just in North Woodlands and Conroe there. Check this out. 30,000 customers there, Houston area, down to 100. So that's good. At least they've restored a lot of power. For us, after this evening, after that 40% chance of leftover storms and showers this evening, next several days, all the way through Saturday, we're talking a 20% chance in the afternoon and early evening. Of course, the heat's still on, but it's not as bad. That's the key here. 91 right now at the airport, 95 in Rio Medina, 88 Birdie, 93 on the south side at Stinson. Of course, we still have the high humidity. So when you factor that in, it feels like it's just over 100 degrees here in town. Pleasanton, 106 current heat index. So rain chances up to 40% by 10 p.m. Again, the off chance of a stray severe storm locally, just with that outflow boundary that gave us that cool breeze, stabilize us a bit. I think odds are more for storm leftovers of what could be severe farther to the west of us. And then tomorrow, 74 in the morning, 90 in the afternoon, 20% chance of those storms later on in the day. And notice it says 90. Yeah, you know, I said 90 so casually. 90 for the high temperature. Almost deserves another high kick. And then mid-90s Friday into the upcoming weekend. So we're not talking triple digits. And I apologize because of the new clicker. The same placement of button from our old clicker does a whole different function. That's what happened earlier.
All right, not a gremlin, just bad
me.
punch.
Just me. Just
the clicker.
Just a Kasky gremlin.
Blaming the
Those
clicker.
clickers. All right, an NBA All-Star with more kind words about Wemby today, Larry.
You know, all season long, these NBA players have just been flooding Wemby with the compliments, and deservedly so, right? So the latest one, Damian Lillard, has some major props for Wemby concerning next season. And Derek White and the Boston Celtics are headed to the NBA Finals coming up.
And they just would not go away. 4 games, 48 minutes each game has just been a grind, a battle. We knew that going in, and I mean, they were here for a reason, and they're a really good team, and so credit to them.
Derek White and the Celtics are heading back to the NBA Finals after knocking off the Pacers in Big Board Sports. Your reigning NBA Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama, is just scratching the surface when it comes to his NBA career, and other NBA players know this as well. Milwaukee Bucks point guard Damian Lillard feels Wemby will be the top guy very soon, telling the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel he thinks by next season people are going to be talking about Wemby as being the best player in the league. You know, Wemby certainly has the skills to make that happen. Turning to the NBA Western Conference Finals, the Dallas Mavericks will look to sweep the Minnesota Timberwolves in 4 games tonight. Now, this has been a close series, with the Mavs winning the first 3 games by a combined total of 13 points. Now, it's been said the closeout game is the toughest, and the Mavs are ready.
We know they have nothing to lose. They're going to come out and play the best that they can. So for us, we got to master energy for a full 48 minutes and just come out and be ready to play.
I take it you don't want to go back to Minnesota for any reason?
No, sir, I definitely don't. But we have to pay attention to this game, be locked in, because we know that they're going to try to come out swinging.
Just a night we get to go out there, have another chance to play Timberwolves basketball, you know, and put one in the left column. So excited for the opportunity.
Mavs and T-Wolves will play ball tonight at 7:30 in Dallas. The Boston Celtics won Game 4 last night to sweep the Pacers out of the Eastern Conference Finals. Tied at 102, Celtics guard Derek White hit the game-winning 3 with 45 seconds left to help the Celtics win Game 4, 105-102.
Just a lot of hard work, and then, I mean, a lot of credit to the team. I mean, they always push me, and just seeing them work every day makes me want to work harder, which pushes me to just keep getting better. So credit to the team and then the coaching staff. They've been unreal. Just always there for me, always supporting me, ups, downs. They just always believed in me. So I love them, and it really starts with them.
The NBA Finals will start Thursday, June 6th in Boston.
Former Spur factor right there.
Right there.
Derek White.
So I'm pulling for Boston.
Is that it?
Yeah, I want to see Derek White win a ring.
Aw.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Isolated storm chances the rest of the week in the afternoons and early evenings. We're at 20%, and that's really to cover us for what we're looking at even later on tonight for leftovers or remnants of North and West Texas storms. So cross your fingers that we could see a little bit of action head our way.
Let's hope. Thank you, Adam, and thank you for watching the News at 5.
World News up next. See you back here at 6.